out there. And she has since quit doing jewelry, but that was her creative side. And I was buying from her and like, I like this stuff. And so next thing you know, I'm like rocking all this jewelry. And it's fun and it makes you feel good.
Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the Other 99%, every seller matters.
Hey everyone, it is me, Lisa, and welcome back to another episode of The Other 99%. I'm excited to be here today with our co-host Susan and our special guest Audrey Peacock. Just a funny little thing because it didn't even dawn on me because it doesn't dawn on me that my last name is Duck. But Susan says she felt left out because we had the bird names, so
There's
that's
a
quite funny.
Larimer.
Yeah, a Larimer. Well, welcome to the podcast, Audrey. I just want you to jump in and introduce yourself, tell the listeners who you are, what you do, and all that stuff.
Hey, thank you, ladies, for having me. I'm Audrey Peacock. I am in Alabama, where it's a beautiful sunny day. And one interesting thing, or may not be interesting, is I'm not your typical direct seller. I'm 68. I started this much later than most people. Most people in the jewelry world where I am are probably in their 30s and 40s. So I'm kind of doing this a little backwards, but a little bit about my background. Like I said, it's 68 years old. I've done a lot of things, but my most recent thing I retired from was I was a school teacher. I taught gifted children, and I was also involved with a nonprofit that gifted, let's say, Alabama Association for Gifted Children, and I was a volunteer for them. And so later that's going to come into play. But I was teaching with one of my friends who was working for, I don't know if I can say the company, Plunder Design, and was selling this beautiful jewelry. And I was buying it from her. And meanwhile, I retired, got married, remarried, moved to the lake, kind of remote. I have a funny story about that. And I was buying it from her. I thought, why not do this myself? I can do this. I've already done Facebook Lives with my students. I was doing Facebook Lives with my students back in 2014. I had like a closed group so the parents could see what they're doing. I would not be camera first though. It was always on the students. It took me a while to get comfortable about being in front of a camera. So that's what got me started in doing direct sales. I had no intention of ever doing it.
So you're with Jay Bloom, correct?
I am now.
Okay.
I was Plunder. We have a 1 year anniversary with Jay Bloom. Plunder was, I don't know, bought, merged, whatever, but I'm
Okay.
Bloom and I am thrilled. They are a fantastic company. I'm so happy that we landed there. We were very lucky that we weren't just dumped. That they had a plan, and Jay Bloom
Yeah.
had welcomed us with open arms. And I actually went to the convention. This happened May 1st last year, and we were in the convention by July. And the
Oh,
ladies, and it was just wonderful. I can't say enough good things about them.
that's great. It's nice to hear a positive closing of one company, merging with another company. It's kind of rare these days. So I'm glad you had that experience. And then what made you go into jewelry? Have you always loved jewelry? Why Jay Bloom?
Honestly, I was one of those wore the little pearls, one little necklace. That was it. That was me. And my friend she was out there, and she has since quit doing jewelry, but that was her creative side. And I was buying from her, and like I like this stuff. And so next thing you know, I'm like rocking all this jewelry. And it's fun and it makes you feel good. And you can have a bad hair day and put on a pair of hoops, and it makes your day better.
And when you started, Audrey, were you in homes or was it during like COVID when you started?
I started in 2017, so it was before
Okay, just
COVID.
prior COVID, yeah.
I have always pretty much been online seller, Facebook group. I've still got the same Facebook group that
Okay.
I nurture. They've become my people. Some people that are in there are from other states. They've just, I'd be a part of another group party or something, and I would get some of them. And people I've never met. So it's just this huge community from all over that one day I may meet them. So,
Yeah, it's so true.
Mhm.
Well, it sounds like you love what you do. So this question might be hard for you to answer, but
okay.
have you ever thought about quitting? And if so, what sort of kept you there?
I think because I have built this community, because sometimes I'm like, I don't really have to do this. I'm retired. I could be out fishing or whatever. And but I think what stops me sometimes is I have built this community of ladies that depend on my whatever prompt I've got that day. I've got an unusual group. We're in Alabama, so we're kind of in the Bible Belt. We have a prayer. I always put a prayer post on Sunday morning, midnight, Saturday night, Sunday. They know there's going to be a prayer request if you want others. So it's just really a community. Now, I do have my Facebook page that's public that I try to be more salesy, but I just feel like I would abandon them if I stopped. And they're fun.
Yeah,
It's good to have that because you know that tight-knit community is really you feel like you're doing them a service by being there, right?
I,
So
I hope so.
yeah, yeah, I
So
love that.
we talk about this all the time that our business is all about relationships. And that's one
yes.
of the things that I found being in direct sales that kind of surprised me. Like all of the relationships from my customers and my teammates, meeting Lisa, she lives in Canada, I'm in New Jersey. Now we have Audrey in Alabama. I mean, this never would have happened without direct sales. And I think that's one of the very unique things about direct sales, which I love.
Yeah,
I
for
agree.
sure.
So, is there anything else surprising that you learned about direct sales? You sound like you were like me. Like, I never sought out direct sales. I never thought I would do direct sales. But now that you're in it, what has really surprised you?
Well, I think a lot of us grew up of the Tupperware lady
Yeah.
or the
Mm.
chef lady, or I go way back to Sarah Coventry. That was like one of the first direct sale. Uh,
Oh,
I may still have a piece of that. I remember my mother having a little Sarah Coventry party in her house, and
I don't even know what that is. What kind of products?
it's jewelry. It's
Oh,
like some of the very first, and that was pretty good quality jewelry. And I
yeah.
remember I thought that was something else when I was a teenager. Like, Eric Coventry. Now, like I said, y'all would not know what it was. Now I got back to it. That I didn't, I'm not one that's got to do a home party. I'm not one that goes and does events. That's not
Yeah.
me. I'm trying to do everything because I am 25 minutes to like the nearest main road. We have
Mm.
paved road, but you know anything about the South, we have these stores called the Dollar General, which is like
Mhm.
this little, little dime store, whatever, that's in every community. Some will have two and three, and I'll say, well, I live 25 minutes to the nearest Dollar General. That's how far.
Wow.
So when we come home, we've got to make sure we go by the grocery store. And so, but I love it. It's quiet, except during this time of year, people are here to enjoy the lake and it can get kind of rowdy, but
Mm.
I love it. But I found that I didn't have to do that. And now, I'm a big fan of Oh My High. That's going to be a game changer for me too, because I'm really working to get that out there, more public to be found and not just my little, you can only buy so much jewelry from me. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lisa, give a little explanation about Oh My High for those of us who or those listeners who don't know what that is.
Yeah, we always put a plug in for Oh My High because I mean, I think it's the best tool that every direct seller could use. And what it is like a templated website, so easy to use, drag and drop. You basically go in, pick a pattern, and insert your images and put in your words. And heck, use ChatGPT all you want to get it to pick the words for you. But it's a place that you could be found on Google. And what I love about Oh My High is that your information lives there forever. It's not,
yeah,
it doesn't have that like 7 minute time span that a post on a Facebook wall has or an Instagram feed. So Oh My High is definitely something where we as direct sellers can utilize it to make our businesses grow. And just like you said about, meeting each other through like the modern direct seller and being online and being in direct sales, like this is going to allow us to meet people in different communities that we would never
think of meeting if we were just doing in person, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I've done other websites. I've created other websites, and the difference with Oh My High is the support you get. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had I shouldn't the name, but I've had different brands of websites and never have had the support. I know if I've got a problem, I can email Lisa or message Lisa or hop on a live and I'll get my questions answered and I'm not just stuck. I usually would just give up. So
Yeah.
that's why.
And the cool thing about having your own website, you can not only share J Bloom and jewelry, but you can share your prayer group. You can share
Yeah,
Bible verses.
yeah,
It is you, it's not your company.
right.
Yeah. Are you utilizing the blog part of Oh My High?
I'm a blogger.
Awesome.
I was always a blogger. I have always done some blogging, but you can't find it. But now using ChatGPT, because I know you're going to ask about my
Mm.
favorite tools, and I'm a ChatGPT junkie, but it's learned me so much. It's given me another persona. So I'll wait for you to ask me about that. Funny. I've got just some funny things that happened with it because
Awesome.
it's like,
I can't wait to hear because I'm like fangirl all over ChatGPT. I use it every day for everything. So, but listening to you talk, I can really tell that, sales, like your number one focus for being in direct sales is not sales. Like it's not
yeah.
making money. So, can you tell the listeners like what you've gained from being in direct sales? Where do you think you see the most growth in yourself?
Being not afraid to put myself out there, like doing this,
Mm-hmm.
I was a little leery because I'm like, why would they want me, And people will watch my lives, and it just surprises me because, yes, I was a teacher, but I'm talking to a bunch of kids. Put me in front of a bunch of adults, like, oh no. So it's just different, and there's such a community that especially I love your 99% because you're so right about the rest of the other 99% is that's most of us. And we're
Mm-hmm.
all wanting to put a crown on each other.
Yeah.
That's the support you get in this community.
And how has direct sales helped you in other areas of your life? We talked about a nonprofit that you were a part of.
Yes, well, I was been a nonprofit for years when I was teaching because I was a gifted teacher and we have the state gift association. So they decided they needed an executive director. And that comes again, I'm really bad about putting myself down like, oh, that title, I'm that's too much. But I pretty much was just the only paid person. So everything I learned from direct sales, Canva, branding, I have to thank the owner of Plunder, who one thing she did do was teach us to brand ourselves. We were not even allowed to put Plunder. That was one of the rules. Don't put it in your VIP group. It's a title. You're
Oh.
not Plunder. Brand yourself. So that hence I turned into Peacock's Pretties because I thought that sounded cute. Your Pretties. Oh, my Pretties, my jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm people, they see Peacock's Pretties, they see a peacock, they think of me. So I could use that not only to build our graphics and the web page, just everything, emailing, using ChatGPT to help write letters to legislators. Because one of our
Mm.
things was advocacy to get funding for gifted education. So I would write a letter and I throw it through ChatGPT and it would make it sound better,
Yeah.
much better. And I would use it for our web page too. Like, and it would catch my grammar sometime and most of the time. It was just a lot of the things I did helped me with that position that a lot of people I don't think could have done. They kept like, oh yeah, I can do this and this, but can you do all these things that does with technology? The
Mm-hmm.
technology part is huge. I've always been a little tech nerd anyway, but the things I've learned. And another thing, during COVID, I don't know what I would have done without the community. That was some of my best years too during COVID
Yeah.
because everybody had to get online to see each other. And I don't know what I would have done during that time. I'm way out here remote and it would have been very depressing, but everybody's like, let's go live. We would even have like happy hour. We get into a Zoom
Nice.
or Google Meet and do whatever you were drinking at home and have happy hour. So I
No.
think I wouldn't have done that without my direct sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember having game night on Zoom with my family,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
playing categories and, things like that. So, yeah, technology, and that's a good point. Technology, I would not know half of the tech systems that I know now without direct sales. And it's because you and I are similar, and Lisa, we don't do home parties. Like, I'm not
No.
dragging all my stuff to someone's house to stand in front of people to present my products and then collect orders at the end. Like, I did my share in the beginning, but I hated them. So we are able to do business our way, and I love that. We have options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you keep mentioning ChatGPT. So I want to dig into this. So tell us your little funnies. Like what do you use ChatGPT for, and what are some of the funnies that you were referring to? I'm just curious.
Almost everything. And I started because, I I had to give a shout out to Amanda Todd of You Got This.
Yeah.
I've I've been with her when she was tag team, and now I follow her when she started her own, and I've always purchased her graphics. Well, I put them out there and like, oh, you've got to answer people. You got to
Mm.
respond. You don't just, what do they call it? You drop it and
Post and ghost,
post
post
and
and
ghost.
ghost.
Yeah. So I always I hope my group nobody hears this. They might. I I use it to help me
You're
answer.
just being honest. You're just
Well, I use it to help me reply. I'll say, here's my post for today. I need it in a fun tone. And so it helps. And then I've taught it, some people, I've taught them this is so and so. They they can know some of my customers too, or my participants in my group. And like I have a nephew he's 19, he's in my group and he's autistic, he's kind of high level, but his answers are sometimes, and it's old ladies mainly, but everybody in there knows him. So I tell ChatGPT, no, this is my nephew who's autistic, and she comes up with the best answers. But over at the time we were talking about, ChatGPT will come up with an answer like they're assuming they know I'm 68, like I'm grandma. No, I'm not grandma. So I have a new persona. They said, well, let's make it Aunt Audrey sounding. And now I
Ooh.
have loved that. It's okay. Do you want it sassier? Like, yeah. So I'm telling you, the listeners, if they haven't tried ChatGPT and AI is here, I'm sorry, Google's AI. Email was AI when it comes down to it. Why the big AI is so scary, I don't know. But yes, I'm a fan. I'm such a fan. I subscribe to it. Love it. Yeah.
We
I
love it
love.
too.
Yeah, we
Oh,
we just recently did a podcast episode all about ChatGPT, and we've done a number of them actually.
yeah.
And I love that you say that. Like, why are people afraid of AI? Because I always say your information's out there if somebody wants it. You don't have
Yes.
to
Yes.
worry about feeding it into ChatGPT because just go ahead and Google your name and see what comes up. Trust me, you'll be shocked.
Oh yeah.
So,
I proved that I was doing a bio for somebody in my other job, and she had not sent it to me, and we were doing a webinar, and I asked her, I needed this and I didn't get it. So I just put it in Chat GPT, got this beautiful bio because she had enough out there. So I sent
mhm.
it to her, I said, this okay? She said, that's me. All of the information, that information was all out there. So
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So, if you could go back to the beginning of your journey, what would you tell Audrey? What advice would you give to yourself as you were just beginning?
take it slower. Um, don't try to compare me
Mm,
to a 30-year-old cute person that they can just show some earrings and sell them. Don't worry about that. Go to your people. Another big mistake I think a lot of direct sellers do is they buy too much inventory.
mm,
Hmm.
Learn that you do not. And I'd get the idea, oh, I need to buy these so I can show them because there was always that encouragement like before they sell out. And oh, I got
mm.
too much of that for they sell out. So that's something I tell them, don't do it. Don't buy the inventory you don't need. It's too easy to drop ship something now. So that's a big piece of advice I would give somebody.
Yeah, that's good. I remember telling new teammates because they were buying everything, and I'm like, no, you're here to make money. You're not
Hmm.
Yes.
here to spend money. You're here to make money. Remember
Yes.
that.
You know, the
Yes.
biggest thing, and I just want to share this because the biggest shift that I made in my business, because when I came in, I've been in direct sales for 20 years, And when I came in, it was always like, oh, you have to hand deliver to your customers. You have to put the personal touch in. You have to do this. And it's like the biggest shift I made and the best move I made in my business was switching my business to a 99% ship direct.
Hmm.
And and they said, "How did you do it, Lisa?" I said with a simple phrase. When somebody called me and asked me if I was placing an order or if they could place an order, I would simply say, "Absolutely. Would you like that shipped to your house directly, or would you be picking that up at my house?"
Yeah.
And
Wise.
I guarantee that 99% of the people would say, "Oh no, I want it right to my door." Great, here's the price.
Oh,
Right? And
exactly.
they don't bat an eye. I think it's
Oh,
the direct sellers of their fear of spending someone else's money, right?
yeah,
I tried to tell people that I have neighbors who are two doors down, and they would literally, when I was with Epicure, jump online and place an order. I would just see Elizabeth's placed an order. It's like, oh, thank you. Like, I
yeah,
mean, she could have easily picked it up at my house, but
yeah,
no, people don't just assume that people want you to hand deliver.
yeah.
I mean, that's an assumption. And like I said, it changed my life. Sorry, I just had to share that because
No,
I
that's
think that's
true.
a big shift that people can
Yeah.
make. And I mean, just think about how much your time is worth, right?
And what shipping cost? You know, if I have it here and then I send it to them and I'm a bubble wrap for me, I mean that's $1 a piece. And
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
and it's running like and catalog. I love catalogs, but they're expensive to purchase and to ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, only like my best customers get my catalogs or I have them hand and leave them at the doctor's office, that kind of thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
And
for
Audrey, if
sure.
you live 25 miles from the nearest town,
oh,
you'd be in the car all day delivering
yes.
these
Oh, yes. And
orders.
when we do taxes, the accountant, he when I say, okay, just count once a week for my travel, because he knows how far it is
Yeah.
for me. That's a nice little chunk on my taxes. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet.
That's so true. Okay, we're off to my probably my favorite question to ask
okay.
guests on the podcast. And that is if you have a piece of advice or a favorite quote that you think that every direct seller needs to hear, what would it be?
Well, this would be mainly for jewelry people, and it could go for epicure or whatever. Life is complicated enough. You could say dot, dot, dot for something else, but for me, it's life is complicated enough. Your jewelry doesn't have to be.
Oh, nice.
So that could go with your skincare doesn't have to be. Your
Yeah.
meal prep doesn't have to be.
And is that an Audrey quote or did you get that
Well,
from
I could
someone?
not find it anywhere. I kind of had that. I did this before ChatGPT and I haven't, I searched it. I couldn't find it being used anywhere,
It's
but
an Audrey Peacock
It's
well, Audrey Peacock.
original.
original.
So it's in my tagline, so but
Nice.
I'm not gonna, copyright it or anything.
I love it.
So anything else you want to share about your business, about anything else you think our listeners need to know?
Well, they need to check out my website. It's a J Bloom. I mean, it's a Oh My High. It's not J Blooms. It's peacockspretties.com. It's TT. Well, actually, I own both URLs dot TTYS pretties and TTIES.com. You can find me on Instagram at Audrey.peacock and on Facebook is facebook.com/peacockspretties with the YS at Pretties because I did it a
Perfect.
long time ago and I was afraid to change it. But
Well, we'll put all the links in the show notes so people can find you for sure.
that was one of those weird things like, is it TIE? And I searched that and all I could think of was, I don't know, on the Wicked Witch of the West or whatever, my pretty
Pretties.
whatever. And I don't know. And which way do you spell it? IES or YS? I don't know. That's a teacher in me. What is
Oh,
correct?
yeah.
Okay, I have one last question before you go. And that is most of the time, people say, my spouse is either supportive or not supportive of my direct sales business. I know that hubby just came home from fishing, and that's why this question just popped into my head. Is he like looking at you? What are you doing a podcast? Or is he like, way to go, Audrey, you're doing a podcast?
No, he's very supportive. He says, "Happy wife, happy life." That's that's how
Smart
he looks at it.
man.
And he just retired, so he knows this has kept me busy here at home where I'd worked all those years and traveled to work, and all of a sudden I'm at home because when we did get married, we decided to move here to the lake. It was still close to his job, but I was not going to start over in another classroom, so
Mm. So do you wear your jewelry to go fishing?
no.
Okay. Why
In fact,
not?
in fact, he goes fishing. I ride on the pontoon because I don't go fishing.
Okay.
I go onto the dock. We have a pontoon and a bass boat, so I don't know.
Nice.
Pontoon is my speed. You just walk over.
I love it.
That's
All
awesome.
right, Audrey, I really appreciate you joining us on this episode. I know that the listeners, we're hearing all the time how people are loving the podcast, just the back and forth conversation. And I know they're going to enjoy what you had to share. So thank you so much for joining us. And I hope that you guys join us on next week's episode of The Other 99%. And we'll see you again. Take care. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you would take a minute to rate and then review the podcast, I would absolutely love it. And if you know someone who really needs to hear this podcast, please feel free to share it with them. More listeners, the better. And if you know someone who would like to be a guest on the podcast, or you yourself would like to be a guest, be sure to check the link in the show notes or visit lisaduck.com and click Be a Guest. We'll talk to you soon.